Hello, friends, and welcome to Step Up Academy. First of all, congratulations to all the people those who have written this year's mains examination, that is MPSC Mains 2025. I'm saying congratulations because writing mains it's itself a humongous task. You have to write 9 descriptive papers. And this time, this MPSC exam was in a descriptive pattern for the first time. That's why I'm saying congratulations. Okay, so people those who are preparing for MPSC state services examination, you people would have definitely gone through the different optional papers. You would have gone through the GS papers. If you have not seen those papers, then it is very important that you go through all these papers very thoroughly. I, Pratik Tarawade, at Step Up Academy, I'm going to discuss geography optional papers one by one. Okay, so first I'll be talking about optional paper 1, then next I'll move to paper 2. Okay, so in today's lecture I'm going to discuss approach with respect to geography optional answer writing. First of all, if you would have seen the paper, जर तुम्ही पेपर पाहिला असेल geography optionalचा, let's take a look. तुम्हाला इथे दिसून येईल की questions that are asked in the examinations, they are pretty straightforward. And I'm not talking just about the geography optional paper, but in fact if you talk about any other optional paper, तुम्ही कोणताही optionalचा पेपर घ्या, you will see that most of the questions, they are pretty straightforward. For example, here the state question 1a, state what is meant by denudation and explain the causes and effects of mechanical denudation. Most of the question, factors of climate on earth, all the questions, they were pretty straightforward. So if you look at this paper at the first glance, you will feel that अरे इतना आसान पेपर है, directly straightforward, GS की तरह क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है, I can easily write this paper. But it is an optional paper. So for optional paper, you have to have a very different approach rather than that of the GS paper. तुमचा जो अप्रोच आहे ऑप्शनल पेपरसाठी तो नेहमी वेगळा असला पाहिजे. ठीक आहे, असं नाही की बाबा जीएसचा पेपर तर जीएसचे सारखे आन्सर द्यायचे. ठीक आहे, सो विदाउट वेस्टिंग एनी टाइम, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई विल फोकस अपॉन दी स्ट्रॅटेजी दैट यू शुड बी हैविंग और how you should be dealing with your optional paper. What should be your approach for writing the geography answers? So, in my today's session, apart from discussing the questions, we are going to focus upon the approach of writing geography optional answers. Okay, geography optional answer. So if I talk about any paper, be it optional paper 1 or paper 2 of geography, the first and foremost thing that you people should be having, that is a list of geographers names. A list of geographers and their theories and their associated theories. Because if you look at the paper, if you look at the question paper, the questions are pretty straightforward, and I'm pretty sure that most of the people, those who haven't prepared their optional thoroughly, they will be writing GS type of answers in all these questions. Okay, but that is not what is expected from the you can say MPSC. Okay, you have to have a very different approach while writing geography optionals answer, or be it any other option. You have to have a very strong command. You have to have a list of geographer names, along with that their theories that they have given. Okay, then second thing, what I have observed in this optional paper is that the questions were pretty straightforward. So you have to have a very good command on the definitions. You have to have a good command on the definitions with respect to each and every topic. For example, the first question itself, it was asked, what is meant by denudation? ठीक आहे, विदरण म्हणजे काय? तर विदरण म्हणजे काय ह्याची व्याख्या आपल्याला माहिती असणं खूप गरजेचं आहे. इकडे खाली तुम्हाला दिसून येईल, एक्सप्लेन द फॅक्टर्स ऑफ क्लायमेट ऑफ अर्थ, पृथ्वीवरील हवेचे घटक स्पष्ट करा. आता इथं इंट्रोडक्शन तुम्ही काय देणार अशा ठिकाणी? तर तुम्ही डिरेक्टली स्टार्ट करू शकता. इथे तुम्ही डेफिनेशननी स्टार्ट करू शकता. इथे तुम्हाला डायरेक्ट विचारलेलंच आहे, व्हॉट इज मेंट बाय डेन्युटेशन. ठीक आहे, विदरण म्हणजे काय? तो इथं तुम्ही व्याख्यानी स्टार्ट करू शकता. इथं तुम्ही व्याख्यानी स्टार्ट करू शकता. त्यानंतर गिव्ह जॉग्राफिकल अकाउंट ऑफ ओशन करंट्स ऑफ पॅसिफिक ओशन. नाउ दीज क्वेश्चन्स आर स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. You cannot you cannot have a very dynamic introduction with respect to it. I'll show you how to write dynamic introduction as well, application based introduction as well. That will set a flow to your answer. But you have to have a very good command on these two aspects while writing the geography optional answers. GS मध्ये तर तुम्ही डायरेक्ट लिहा, काही टेन्शन नाही. But optional मध्ये geographers and theories and their theories, and along with that definitions, you have to have a very strong command. Third thing, third approach, third point with respect to geography optional is that you should be having a good command on the diagrams. Okay? You should be having a good command on the diagrams. This is very, very important because every answer that you are writing, it is completely incomplete without the diagrams, without the names of the geographers. Definitions, at times in the examination hall it becomes very difficult. 3 idiots की तरह directly book में जो दिया है वो रट्टा मार नहीं सकते. ठीक है, you can make your own definitions, but these things are must. Geographers names and diagrams, these are must. Without these things geography answer becomes incomplete. ठीक है, these three things. Then the fourth aspect with respect to approach for writing geography optional answer, that is regional case studies, or I would say regional examples. उदाहरणं regional तुम्हाला माहिती असणं खूप गरजेचं आहे. ठीक आहे, डिफरंट प्लेसेसचे नावं वगैरे तुम्हाला माहिती असणं गरजेचं आहे. रिजनल केस स्टडी, फॉर एक्झाम्पल एक क्वेश्चन होता पोल्युशनशी रिलेटेड, व्हॉट इज एअर पोल्युशन. ठीक आहे, सो एअर पोल्युशन तुम्ही तिथं इझिली यू कॅन पुट अप सम केस स्टडी. एक रिजनल केस स्टडी तुम्ही नॉर्थ इंडियन प्लेन्स केस स्टडी वगैरे टाकू शकता. ठीक आहे, सो इट इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट दॅट यू आर हॅव्हिंग अ रिजनल केस स्टडी एज वेल. ठीक, सो दीज 4 things. Then apart from this, while writing geography optional answer, the next important thing that you have to keep focus upon, that is the human aspect. At the last, you need to have in your answer, you need to include some or the other human aspect. एक ह्युमन अँगल त्याला असला पाहिजे, म्हणजे असलाच पाहिजे. फॉर एक्झाम्पल डेन्युटेशन. नो, व्हॉट इज द सिग्निफिकन्स ऑफ डेन्युटेशन फॉर मॅनकाइंड और ह्यूमन्स. ठीक है, are humans responsible for denudation? Yes, we see in the Himalayan region we are cutting the roads for we are cutting the mountains for construction of roads and highways. So yes, for denudation विदर्णासाठी मनुष्य ही कारणीभूत आहे. ठीक आहे, सो यू नीड टू हॅव अ ह्युमन ऍस्पेक्ट इन युअर आन्सर. एक पॉइंट तरी तुमचा ह्युमन ऍस्पेक्टशी रिलेटेड असला पाहिजे. If you are having all these aspects in your geography optional answers, then and then only you will get good marks. Then and then only there will be quality enrichment. So I, Pratik Tarawade, when I'll be teaching you geography optional subject, I'll be ensuring that each and every topic that I teach you, there will be inclusion of all these things. There will be inclusion of geographers at each and every place. There will be inclusion of their names and theories. There will be inclusion of definitions. Definitions you can make on your own as well. ओके, बट जर चांगले डेफिनेशन्स रट्टा राहिले तर चांगली गोष्ट आहे, नाही राहिलं चालेल. देन देर विल बी डायग्राम्स एज वेल. वी विल बी प्रॅक्टिसिंग most of the diagram, 99% of the diagrams I'll be drawing on the board. Okay, then there will be some regional case studies and examples that I'll be providing you. Along with that, the human angle aspect. ठीक है, so without wasting any time, I hope the approach is clear. I'll just summarize it once again. ठीक है, geographers, theories, definitions, diagrams, regional case studies, and finally we need to have a human aspect angle. So without wasting any time, let's jump to our question and answer. At Step Up Academy Geography Optional, notes and everything will be provided to you in both the languages, English language as well as there will be notes provided to you in Marathi language as well. ठीक आहे, तर तुम्हाला दोन्ही भाषेमध्ये असणार आहे, इंग्लिशमध्ये पण असणार आहे आणि मराठीमध्ये पण असणार आहे. त्यामुळे एवढं टेन्शनचं गोष्ट नाहीये की आधी असं होतं की अरे बाबा ऑप्शनल आहे, मराठीमध्ये नोट्स असतील नसतील. तुम्हाला सर्व नोट्स वगैरे ते मराठीतही अवेलेबल असणार आहे. ठीक आहे, सो लेट्स डिस्कस ईच अँड एव्हरी क्वेश्चन वन बाय वन. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, what is meant by denudation and explain its causes and effects of mechanical denudation. Now, be it any paper, be it GS paper or be it optional paper, the first and foremost approach while reading the question that you have to do is break the question. So first thing is asked, state what is meant by denudation. This becomes your first part. विदरण म्हणजे काय ते सांगून काय ते सांगून पुढची गोष्ट. तर हे पहिला आपला पार्ट झाला. त्याच्यानंतर एक्सप्लेन कॉजेस. दिस इज सेकंड पार्ट ऑफ युअर क्वेश्चन. देन इफेक्ट्स ऑफ मेकॅनिकल डेन्युडेशन, थर्ड पार्ट. सो दिस क्वेश्चन वॉज आस्क्ड फॉर 10 मार्क्स. 10 मार्काला विचारलेलं आहे, पण त्याच्यामध्ये 3 पार्ट्स विचारले गेलेले आहे. सो वाइल रायटिंग आन्सर यू हॅव टू टेक केअर ऑफ ऑल दीज 3 एस्पेक्ट्स. ठीक आहे, यू कॅनॉट स्किप the definition or what is asked meant by the denudation. Then you cannot skip the causes, you cannot skip the effects as well. Okay, so let's try to deal with this question and answer it. So if you talk about denudation, who was the person associated with the erosion, cycle of erosion? The first person associated with the cycle of erosion was Davis. Okay, that's why whatever the erosional or denudation theories which have come up after Davis, they are referred to as the Davian geomorphology. So inclusion of geographer, as I've said at the start, you have to include a geographer name. Okay, and their theories, or you can simply write Davian geomorphology. So denudation is a key concept. Given concept in Davian geomorphology refers to overall wearing and wearing down of the earth's surface through weathering. So what is meant by denudation? You are dealing with this over here, and you are making your answer optional by inclusion of Davis. Now obviously people, those who are preparing for, those who are not having geography optional, they might not be aware of Davis. But you people, those who are preparing for optional, geography optional, you have to include such names. Okay, so Davian geomorphology. Then second part that you're dealing with, that is the causes of mechanical denudation. ठीक आहे, मराठीतही जरी म्हटलं तर तुम्ही डिरेक्टली तिथं काय बाबा, यांत्रिक विदर्णाची कारणे. ठीक आहे. सो रायटिंग सच सबहेडिंग्स इज मस्ट. pick up those subheadings from the parts of the question that you have identified. नवीन काही नाही, तिथलेच उचलायचे. ठीक आहे. एक्सप्लेन द कॉजेस किंवा यांत्रिक विदर्णाची कारणे, तीच गोष्ट इथं टाकायची. नवीन स्वतःची सबहेडिंग काय घ्यायची गरज नाही. देन राईट 2 to 3 पॉइंट्स. हिअर आय हॅव इन्क्लुडेड मोर पॉइंट्स. तुम्ही 2 ते 3 पॉइंट्स वगैरे टाकू शकता. दॅट इज मोर दॅन इनफ बिकॉज इट इज आस्क्ड फॉर ओनली 10 मार्क्स. ठीक आहे. सो कॉजेस ऑफ मेकॅनिकल डेन्युडेशन, यू पीपल माइट ऑलरेडी बी अवेअर ऑफ थर्मल एक्सपेंशन अँड कॉन्ट्रॅक्शन, फ्रॉस्ट, फ्रीज अँड थॉ ऍक्शन, pressure release, unloading and all. Okay, then there is mechanical aberration by agents like running water is there, glaciers are there, sea waves and currents are there, because of which we see different types of denudation or erosional activities taking place. Inclusion of hand-drawn diagrams is must in your paper. Okay, such diagrams you have to include. For example, freeze and thaw effect, just write in brief. If you do not have time in the examination hall मध्ये जर तुमच्याकडे वेळ वगैरे नसेल तर असं होईल की अरे बाबा एवढं सगळं लिहिण्यापेक्षा तुम्ही डायरेक्ट ह्याच्या थ्रूही दाखवू शकता. So my approach is both way. My teaching approach is also both ways, diagram based approach as well as theory based approach. And here you will also find that all the places we have also included examples as well. For example, onion peeling is a type of a denudation activity which takes place usually in dry areas, dry regions seen in Rajasthan area. So inclusion of this like freeze and thaw action, it will be definitely seen in an areas where there are surrounding the glacial areas. Okay, in the Himalayan areas, so we have the periglacial regions of the Himalayas. So regional examples at most of the places wherever possible, along with the proper hand-drawn diagram with a proper label is very important in your answers. I'll be providing you this PDF on our Telegram channel once we cover all the questions. Okay, so causes is done. Then third part that was asked, that is the effects of mechanical denudation. ठीक आहे, काय काय आपल्याला त्याचे काय दिसून येतात ते परिणाम वगैरे आपल्याला दिसून येत आहे. ठीक आहे. सो राईट 4 to 5 पॉइंट्स, 2 to 3 पॉइंट्स यू हॅव टू राईट प्रॉपर. ठीक आहे. सॉल्ट वेदरिंग, इट इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड हॅलोकास्ट वेदरिंग, लवण वितरण. ठीक आहे. देन यांत्रिकी परिणाम. ठीक आहे, परिणाम विचारलेले होते नेक्स्ट पार्ट मध्ये. अँड effects, so write proper effects and all, give proper heading, write in just one line, wherever possible give examples, and your task will be done. Okay, then I have said that there should be some human aspect in your answer. Okay, so always write one point associated with human activities, impact on human activities. So denudation is definitely going to have some impact. For example, we are seeing that the Joshimath is sinking. So definitely that is a type of a denudation only. Okay, it is completely sinking. So there is instability, there is slope instability, there is increase in landslides in the Himalayan areas, not just Himalayan areas but also in the Western Ghats areas. So right, human aspect as well, impact on human activities, it will destabilize, there will be land instability, there will be hazard vulnerability and occurrences of landslide. Then finally the conclusion, which is nothing but a summary of all this thing. Always remember, for your optional paper as well, your conclusion should be little bit futuristic, or it should be either summary of all the entire aspects that you have covered. For example, weathering, it will help in enhancing erosion, shaping landforms and influencing environmental stability. Because of denudation we get soil formation is taking place. Okay, soil formation is definitely useful for plant growth and ultimately environmental stability. Okay, so try to include all these aspects. Remember the approach that you are having with respect to your optional paper, geography optional paper. If that framework is clear, then it becomes quite easy to write the answer. Because in the examination hall, पहिली गोष्ट जी तुमच्या डोक्यात आलेली पाहिजे, the first thing that should be click, that should click to your mind, that is in the introduction itself I will include name of some or the other geographer. Okay, this is important. If you're including this right in the introduction itself, it shows the evaluator that yes, you are writing optional paper answer. Okay, so second question we'll start with. पृथ्वीवरील हवेचे घटक स्पष्ट करा. ठीक आहे, एक्सप्लेन द फॅक्टर्स ऑफ क्लायमेट ऑफ अर्थ. So here I've directly started with the introduction. Climate as defined by the Köppen's climatic classification. It is nothing but the long-term atmospheric average. Okay, long-term atmospheric conditions governed by solar radiation, atmospheric circulation, and geographic controls. Okay, so that is one thing. Then 10 marker questions, sometimes it becomes very difficult because you have a lot of information and you have to write it at a very fast pace. ठीक आहे, सो इट बिकम्स व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट की यार मला तर इतकं जास्ती माहिती आहे, मग मी आता याला समराईज कसं करूया वगैरे. सो आय हॅव बिल्ट yet another approach. ठीक आहे, so by drawing map or drawing diagrams and writing the words in very brief, writing the statements in very brief, not not to write complete statement. Amount of solar energy energy received, it decreases from equator towards the poles, creating thermal zones. So if we talk about the climatic factors, okay, factors of climate of earth, there are some primary factors and there are some secondary factors. Primary factors are nothing but which are associated with the astronomical things. ठीक आहे, जे आपल्याला काय दिसून येतं तिथं अक्षांश रेषा वगैरे. ठीक आहे, लॅटिट्यूड वी सी, इन्सुलेशन इट इज वेरिंग. There are different zones. We have torrid zone, we have temperate zone, and we have the frigid zone. So here itself you can put in the information rather than writing all the things in detail. Second, that is the earth's rotation and revolution. It also affects the climate on earth. Because of rotation we have day and night, and because of the revolution of the earth there is temperature changes and there is seasonal changes. Okay, third, that is the angle of incidence of the sun's rays. On the equator we see the sun's rays are directly perpendicular, as a result of which the concentration of energy is very high, whereas in the polar areas the sun rays are slant, they are oblique, and they spread across a large area, as a result of which we get oblique rays and low energy, low insolation. Then fourth, the length of day and seasonality. During the summer season, now summer seasons are going on, we are experiencing high heat and all. Okay, so because of that, longer summers, longer days, high heat. Okay, during winters, shorter days, low heat. Then fifth, we have the earth and the sun's position. Okay, so we know that earth is revolving around the sun in an elliptical orbit. Sometimes the earth is nearer to the sun, that position is called as the perihelion. In Marathi we call it as the Upasurya and Apasurya, aphelion. Okay, so perihelion and the aphelion positions are there when the sun is when the earth is near to the sun, that is in the month of January, which is winter in the northern hemisphere. So we do not feel that much of effect. The heat is quite high over there. Okay, so these are some primary factors. Then there are some secondary factors which are responsible for climate on the changes in the climate on the surface of the earth. ठीक है. So we have altitude, that is becomes the secondary factor. With we know that with increasing height the temperature goes on decreasing, that is called as the normal lapse rate. So for every 1 kilometer that you rise from the surface of the earth, the temperature decreases by 6.5 degree Celsius. So altitude is one such factor. Then distance from sea, continentality effect we have seen in our regular classes. There is an effect of continentality. Coastal areas, if you look at today temperature at Mumbai. In Mumbai, you'll find the temperature will be in the range of somewhere around 35 degrees Celsius because it is a coastal area, and night temperature will be somewhere around 28, 27 degrees Celsius. But if you go to Delhi, which is interior parts, or even if you talk about Nagpur, if you go to interior parts, there you will find the day temperature is very high, 45 degrees Celsius पर्यंत आपल्याला तापमान गेलेलं दिसून येतं. ठीक आहे. So distance from sea, continentality effect, it also has a significant impact on the climate and the temperature. Then ocean currents play a significant role. Okay, now here you can see there is a lot of information. ठीक है, प्राइमरी फैक्टर्स भी लिखने हैं, सेकेंडरी फैक्टर्स भी लिखने हैं. ठीक है, देन यू माइट हैव अ टेंडेंसी टू राइट ऑल थिंग्स इन डिटेल, बट हियर I put the data in very short form. ठीक है. So warm ocean currents raise the temperature, cold ocean currents decrease the temperature. Warm ocean currents are responsible for some cyclonic activities as well. ठीक आहे. So तेही गोष्टी तुम्ही लिहू शकता. Then relief and topography. Now we have Western Ghats. Because of Western Ghats, on the western side of the Western Ghats we get higher rainfall, and on the leeward side, rain shadow region, we get less rainfall. ठीक है. So this again, then there is atmospheric circulation, the wind belts that we have trade winds, we have the westerly winds, we have the polar easterly winds. Even they have a significant impact on the climate of the earth. ठीक है. So likewise, if you see this question was a pretty straightforward direct question which was asked, but you have to include a geographer name. Try to include as much factors as you can. It will be great if you are just putting in some diagram. काही पण डायग्राम काढून द्या, शॉर्ट छोटे छोटे डायग्राम साईडला एखाद्या ठिकाणी कुठेतरी काढले तरी चालतील. ठीक आहे. तसेच इकडच्या साईडला तुम्ही कुठेही एक शॉर्ट डायग्राम्स. ठीक आहे. स्मॉल डायग्राम्स आय हॅव ड्रॉन ओव्हर हियर. फाइन. Then secondary factors, here also you can simply draw a mountain like this and just show it over there. With increasing altitude, temperature goes on decreasing. ठीक है. Then conclusion, climate, it has a significant impact on human habitation patterns. ठीक है. Try to include some human aspect. Try to include. ठीक आहे. ह्युमन अँगल असलाच पाहिजे तुमच्या आन्सर्स मध्ये. कन्क्लुजन मध्ये टाका, नाही तर मग तुम्ही कोणता एखादा सेपरेट पॉईंट टाकूनही करू शकता. ठीक आहे. Here there was no scope to add in the body part, so I put up in the conclusion part. ठीक आहे. So this was about the question number 2. Then question 3. पॅसिफिक महासागरातील सागरी प्रवाहांचा भौगोलिक वृत्तांत लिहा. गिव्ह जॉग्राफिकल अकाउंट ऑफ ओशन करंट्स ऑफ पॅसिफिक ओशन. अगेन इट वॉज अ व्हेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन. ठीक आहे. गिव्ह जॉग्राफिकल अकाउंट ऑफ ओशन करंट्स ऑफ द पॅसिफिक ओशन. ठीक आहे. नाउ it looks like a GS geography question. Okay, but you have to make it an optional question by including the theories associated with the origin of the ocean currents. So in the introduction itself, try to include the geographer name as always. Ocean currents driven by planetary winds and Coriolis force and explained by Ekman and Swerdrup theories. ठीक आहे. सो दीज आर द टू पीपल्स. एकमॅन स्पायरल, ज्यांनी जॉग्राफी ऑप्शनल ऑलरेडी केलेलं असेल त्यांना माहिती असेल. एकमॅन स्पायरल, एकमॅन ट्रान्सपोर्ट वगैरे. ठीक आहे. सो एकमॅन ट्रान्सपोर्ट ऑफ वॉटर वगैरे. सो एकमॅन अँड स्वर्ड्रुप थिअरीज, दीज टू नेम्स आर व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट वेन इट कम्स टू ओशन करंट्स. ठीक आहे. अँड फॉर पीपल दोज हु आर लाईक की मला पुढे जाऊन जॉग्राफी ऑप्शनल घ्यायचं आहे वगैरे आहे, ठीक आहे, आय बी डीलिंग विथ सच थिअरीज एज वेल. दॅट विल हेल्प यू इन एनरिचिंग युअर आन्सर्स. ठीक आहे. मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल ज्यांनी ऑप्शनल केला वगैरे नसेल आणि डिरेक्टली एक्झामला जाऊन, डेफिनेटली आय एम प्रिटी शुअर दे वुड हॅव सिम्पली रिटर्न सम जनरल थिंग ओव्हर देअर. बट फॉर ऑप्शनल you have to include such people's name. So Ekman and Swerdrup, these are the two people associated with the ocean current theories, and they have asked about large gyres in the Pacific Ocean. ठीक है. Then there are the next part that is asked, the question was asked, geographical account of ocean currents. ठीक है. तो नॉर्दर्न हेमिस्फीयर एंड सदर्न हेमिस्फीयर में कौन से ओशन करंट्स है पैसिफिक में, विल बी डीलिंग विद दोस. ठीक है. सो जस्ट ड्रॉ अ वर्ल्ड मैप. ये आपको प्रैक्टिस करना ही है. In my lectures I always ensure that you are practicing such diagrams, such maps. Okay, so practicing this map is very important. Mention all the currents. ठीक है, क्योंकि एक ही ओशन के बारे में पूछा है, पैसिफिक ओशन, सो इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट कि तुम्ही सगळ्याच्या सगळ्याची माहिती लिहून टाका. ठीक आहे, पैसिफिक ओशन. देन देर इज nowhere in the question asked about the aspect or the importance. So write some point associated with significance of these currents. So ocean currents are very important for redistribution of heat across the globe. So heat redistribution, then climate influence. We are now hearing a term in the news, super El Nino. ह्या वर्षी super El Nino येणार आहे. So El Nino, it occurs, the beginning of the El Nino takes place from the Pacific Ocean itself. The current which is responsible for the beginning of the ocean currents, for the beginning of the El Nino, that is this counter equatorial current. When this counter equatorial current, it becomes very strong, there is piling up of warm water on the west coast of Peru, and as a result of which El Nino begins. Okay, so regulating the climate, redistribution of heat, passive, these ocean currents are very important. Then ocean currents are also important for development of fisheries. Wherever there is merging of warm ocean current and cold ocean current, there we find quite good plankton activity, and there are some fishing grounds developed over here on the east coast of Japan. Okay, so these are the some significances. Then enso phase, then navigation and trade. So write some significances. Human aspect, significance, this is human aspect. Fishing, then navigation and trade, these are human aspect associated with ocean currents. Okay, so I hope this third question is also clear. Then fourth question, that is ते आहे, मृदेचे प्राकृतिक गुणधर्म सांगा. Explain the physical properties of the soil. So as usual, include geographer's name at the start, right in the introduction. So soil physical properties as synthesized by Vasily Dukoshev, ठीक है, and later explained through Hans Jenny's Chlorpat model. ठीक है, that is climate, organism, then relief, then parent material and time. Parent material and time. So Chlorpat model, which was given by Hans Jenny. Okay, in geography optional classes we'll be talking about all these things in details. Okay, now biogeography मध्ये हे सगळं तुमचं येऊन जाईल. Explain the physical properties of the soil. So what are the physical properties? Major physical properties. Pick up the subheading from over there and directly target. So first we have the soil texture, that is how is the soil, whether it is consisting how much, whether it is consisting large amount of sand, silt or clay. Depending upon the sand, silt and clay, there will be different water holding capability as well as permeability of the soil will be varying. That is nothing but a physical property of the soil. Then soil structure, whether the soil it has large granules, whether that is blocky or whether that is platy. Depending upon this, the water will penetration will vary, the root penetration will vary. Then next we have the soil color. Color of the soil is also a physical property. In India itself we have different colored soil. In Maharashtra we have the black colored soil because of the presence of titaniferous magnetite. Okay, then we have red soil because of the presence of the iron oxides. Okay, then porosity and permeability of the soil is also very important. If you talk about the black soil, it is texture wise, it is more clay in nature, as a result of which it holds more water. Okay, so it is highly porous and permeability is less. Whereas if I talk about the sandy soil present in Rajasthan and those areas, its permeability is very high. लवकर पाणी त्यातून निघून जातं. Soil temperature is also a physical property. Depending upon the soil temperature, the crops and the microbial activity varies. ठीक आहे, सो फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज जर तुम्ही लिहित बसला सॉइलच्या, एवढ्या 4-5 फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज आहे, त्याच्यापैकी एक्झाम मध्ये तुम्हाला फक्त 2 ते 3च आठवतील, मग त्याच्यानंतर लिहिणार काय? 10 मार्कासाठी विचारलेलं आहे. सो राईट सम सिग्निफिकन्सेस. Write some significances: human angle, agricultural productivity, water management, soil erosion, engineering, and ecosystem sustainability or balance. Okay, so write some significances as well. If you're writing the significances, that shows you are writing the human angle as well. This is very important, very, very important, because I, being a geography optional, I was a faculty in Delhi. Okay, and there at that time I was teaching in guidance IS. Okay, in 2021 22. So that time I've learned this approach, and I've utilized this in my papers as well. And writing human aspect definitely helps in fetching good marks. तुम्हाला एखाद मार्क प्रत्येक क्वेश्चन मध्ये ह्युमन ऍस्पेक्ट टाकला की एक्स्ट्रा मिळणार म्हणजे मिळणार. ठीक आहे, So that is question. ठीक आहे. One more question. Okay. One more question. हवेचे प्रदूषण म्हणजे काय ते सांगून हवा प्रदूषणाचे कारणे स्पष्ट करा. So this was also a straightforward question. State what is meant by air pollution and explain causes of air pollution. Now this was a very general question. Okay, a very general question. So what is it is related with environmental geography, contamination of the atmosphere in the form of gases, liquid, or even in the form of solids, particulate matter, which is solid form, that is nothing but air pollution, and it affects the environment as well as it affects the human health. Okay, so nature and its types, there are some primary pollutants are there which are directly causing pollution of the environment. Then there are secondary pollutants which get transformed over a period of time. Okay, for example, this CFC and all, they are responsible for ozone depletion also. They are nothing but they are secondary pollutants. Okay, then there are particulate matters which are affecting the respiratory system of living beings, then smog formation and all, and spatial variability. Then question has asked major causes. So major causes you people are already aware of: industrial emissions, vehicular emissions, biomass burning, construction. Right examples, okay, biomass burning, stubble burning in Haryana and Punjab. Okay, natural sources are there. Okay, this thing. Then finally air pollution and its conclusion. Okay, so today I have discussed or just shown or going we are going through just these questions. Today I have discussed only 5 questions. Okay, I'll be discussing all these questions in way too detail in our regular classes. Okay, when I'll be teaching all these topics, along with that I'll be taking all these questions again. Okay, not just these MPSC PYQs, but I will be also talking about UPSC PYQs of geography optional. तिथे मी दोन्ही घेत जाईल. UPSC चे जे PYQ आहे geography optional शी संबंधित आणि UPSC चे संबंधित आणि MPSC चे पण आता जो पेपर झालाय त्याचा, आणि प्लस विल बी ऑल्सो टॉकिंग अबाउट ऑल दीज डायग्राम्स एज वेल. ठीक आहे, प्रत्येक ठिकाणी तुम्हाला डायग्राम्स वगैरे दिसून येतील, प्रत्येक ठिकाणी. ठीक आहे, एव्हरीवेअर यू हॅव टू इन्क्लूड डायग्राम अँड मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर हँड ऑन. ठीक है, because AI tools do not generate notes, and answers will be provided to you in both the format, in both the languages, English as well as in Marathi. मराठीमध्येही तुम्हाला सगळे तसेच तसे असणारे प्रश्न वगैरे. ठीक आहे, नॉट ओनली दॅट, हे सगळे डायग्राम्सही तुम्हाला जे, ठीक आहे, कोणता AI टूल असेचे असे मराठीमध्ये हे नाही करू शकत जसं तसं. ठीक आहे, सो हिअर आय हॅव टेकन केअर की त्याचं ट्रान्सलेशन बऱ्यापैकी मराठीमध्ये असेल. ठीक है, so I'll end my these the session. These were the first 5 questions. Remaining questions I'll be covering in upcoming videos. ठीक है, I'll be providing you all the model answers and I'll be giving you brief about all the approach with respect to each and every answer. But in classes I'll be dealing with all these things in way too detail. Here I'm just giving a brief about this. Okay, chalega. So I'll end the session. If you have any doubt, any query with respect to geography optional subject, I'm here at Step Up Academy. You can reach out to me anytime. People those who are willing to join in geography optional, okay, if you want any insights with respect to geography optional, I'll be covering it in a separate video. Or if you want to have a one-to-one discussion about the importance of geography optional, then you can come and meet me at Step Up Academy. Okay, thank you.